Well, to talk about Turkey's involvement in Iraq, I'm joined live from Doha by Andreas Krieg. He's an assistant professor at King's College London, the Department of Defence Studies. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining us. What are your views then on what Turkey is trying to achieve with this deployment?
Thank you very much for having me. Well, this is quite. It's not a new exercise for Turkey. Like the Prime Minister said, this has been something that has been ongoing for more than a year. Has been in coordination with the Baghdad government as well as the KRG government, and they've made an effort to Turkey has made an effort to build an alternative to ISIS, to build an alternative to the Iraqi security sector as well, because the only way you can fight this insurgency, what it is, I mean, ISIS is an insurgency, is to essentially try to build a fighting force, which is a tribal one in Iraq and one which is rebel-based in Syria, to try to become the boots on the ground that are needed. So this is not just the training, it's not just training of Peshmerga forces, but it's also training of local tribal Arab Sunnis who are willing to fight and engage ISIS on the ground and become a force multiplier to the airstrikes that are ongoing, the coalition.
So if it's nothing particularly new, why has Baghdad reacted in this way, summoning the Turkish ambassador, for example?
Because for the government in Baghdad, this has come as a surprise. They were not used to, they were thinking this was just a train and equip mission with a few hundred people. Obviously, the security situation on the ground in Mosul has changed since the camp was established, and those forces that have moved in now are not part of a ground contingent. They're not a Turkish military deployment to Iraq trying to fight ISIS. They're not going to get involved in hostilities. They are just there to protect those people who train and equip the Peshmerga forces or the tribal forces in that camp. So it's purely for protection purposes. And the thing is, I think Turkey is looking at it from a realistic point of view. I mean, Iraq is not really a state anymore. In that part of Iraq, especially in the north, the government in Baghdad doesn't really have sovereignty anymore over its territory. It's widely an ungoverned space, which partially the KRG has moved in, or Daesh or ISIS has moved in. So Turkey, even if they would ask the government in Baghdad to move in, the Baghdad government doesn't really have any authority about this territory anymore in the north. So Turkey didn't think it was necessary to ask for permission.
And very quickly, can you just explain to us what sort of relationship Turkey has maintained with the Peshmerga and why that's different, a different sort of relationship to the Kurdish forces fighting across the border in Syria?
Well, I mean, widely three different types of Kurdish forces that are fighting: the YPG, the KRG, and the PKK. And all these different groups have a different political ideology, and they stand differently towards Turkey. Turkey has had a very special relationship with the KRG in Iraq and with the Barzani government in Erbil, which is mostly an economic and a trade agreement and a trade relationship. And I think they had a very close political engagement as well, which was usually always independent of the relationship with the YPG and the PKK. So it is a friendship and an alliance that has been built for the last probably almost 10 years.
Okay, Andreas Krieg, thank you very much for your insight. Thank you for joining us here on TRT World.